Okay, so as I mentioned, we have lots to get stuck into today, and I think most people have now joined. So I think we're ready to move to the next slide. Perfect. So thank you again for joining us. I'm going to take a moment to introduce myself. And then our guest speaker, who you have briefly met this evening, Angel. Some of you may have met me in our previous webinar last month, but for those of you that are joining us for the first time, my name is Siobhan. I am the country manager for Canada at Visa Solutions Healthcare, and I myself am based in Ontario. So I, like most of the people on this call, are very much anticipating the snow that's incoming. So this is a very well-timed call to hear about Texas and the warmer weather for sure. I have been in healthcare recruitment for almost a decade, and I joined Visa Solutions Healthcare about 3 months ago, maybe four now. And we have been making amazing things happen for nurses based in Canada, whether they have immigrated to Canada or they're born in Canada. And it's a really exciting time for Visa Solutions Healthcare and our clients. So for now, I will pass over to my amazing colleague, Angel, who is our Director of Client Success. So Angel, can you tell everyone a little more about you and what you do?
Yes, thank you for the introduction, Siobhan. My name is Angel Flanagan, and as Siobhan mentioned, I am the Director of Client Success. Um, so I have been in healthcare for over 20 years. I started in the United States Navy and then started working bedside. I have about 10 plus years of bedside nursing. I climbed the ladder, became a director of nursing, and then went on to get my certification and became an administrator. So I've ran several different types of facilities here in the state of Texas as an administrator. I'm here at Visa Solutions. What I do is I'm client facing. So I work with all of our clients, which means all of our hospitals, skilled nursing facilities, psychiatric facilities, and I'm their go-to person. I have a team of client placement advocates who work with me. And what they do is they meet with the clients, we schedule interviews, and work really hard to find the right nurse for each client that fits exactly what they're looking for. That is very key for us at Visa Solutions Healthcare, is finding that right personality, not just for the client, but also for you. And we continue working with the clients until all of their nurses in their pipeline are there in the facility and working for at least up to 6 months after their entire pipeline is complete and working bedside.
Amazing. Perfect. Well, now that everyone's got to know us a little bit better before we head into the rest of the slides, I'm now going to move to the next slide, and we're going to introduce Visa Solutions Healthcare, who we are. If we can head to the next slide. Thank you. So we're a recruitment, immigration, and relocation agency supporting our clients in the US to fill their staffing shortages through long-term means. This allows us to connect amazing international talent with their hiring managers while providing unparalleled support and expertise to RRNs who are looking for their dream position as an RN in the US. We have 7 offices worldwide, and we recruit from over 100 countries. And despite all of the added value that our RNs get from working with us, we never charge for our services, which I know sounds way too good to be true, but it absolutely is. So I always think that's a really big bonus in addition to everything else. Um, Angel, you have such an amazing partnership with Hendrick Health. As you've mentioned, we work tirelessly with all of our clients, but I know that you do have such a good relationship with them. Before we introduce everybody to Hendrick Health, can you share what your favorite thing about Hendrick Health is as a registered nurse yourself?
So there is a lot of things that I love about Hendrick Health, but I feel my absolute favorite, because I have a diverse nursing background. I didn't just do one specialty because I was in the military. I've worked all over different types of backgrounds, specialties, facilities. When I went to Hendrick and toured all 3 of their facilities, it was an immediate feeling of family when you walk through the doors. And working in the United States for as long as I have, working in different hospitals, it's not a feeling that you typically get. Yes, of course, you're going to have great relationships and that family feel on your units. But I'm talking as I walk through the front doors. Just a great example is, and you'll see her here in just a little bit in one of the videos, is the CNO, Heather. She is the CNO for both the North and the South campus. She knows every nurse's name. She knows every janitor's name. She knows the housekeeper's names. And I got to experience watching her walk up to people, saying hello, asking how their kids are doing, asking about their weekend plans. And that's just not something that you typically see here in the United States. So I would say, above everything, that is my absolute favorite thing about Hendrick Health.
Yeah, no, I love that. And I feel like people who are with us today will definitely appreciate that, because I think especially for such a it is a big facility and they care for such a large area, but to still have that personal touch is amazing. Perfect. Okay, so as Angel touched on, we have a video from Hendrick Health that we're really excited to show you in our next clip. So please enjoy getting to know them a little more on our next slide.
Come join our team!
Thank you for spending the next few minutes with us listening to the very special tradition and history of Hendrick Health. Our original hospital, based in Abilene, Texas, that's West Texas, has a rich history in our community of service and taking care of what is known as the Big Country. It's a 24-county territory in Texas where we take care of ranchers and farmers in rural West Texas, but in a state-of-the-art, well-equipped healthcare system.
Here in the Abilene market, Hendrick has two hospital campuses, the North Campus and the South Campus. Each campus has a little unique flair and feel to it and services that they provide, while at the same time being the umbrella of Hendrick Health and who we are from a mission standpoint.
Hi, I'm Jessica Connell, Chief Nursing Officer for Hendrick Medical Center Brownwood. We're a progressive, community-based hospital and located in the heart of Texas. We offer opportunities for nursing in all areas of practice, and we are passionate about welcoming nurses from all over the world into our Hendrick family.
We have a very diverse background, from nurses from Jamaica and the Caribbean islands all the way to the Philippines, to the UK, to Canada. You're going to see a diverse population in which you feel connected to folks from different backgrounds.
One thing that differentiates us from other hospitals is our mission, and you will see this mission guide our actions and the way we take care of patients and the way we take care of each other every single day that you're here.
Raised through the school systems here, I can personally attest to the quality education that you'll receive. And as a parent with two young kiddos, one in the Abilene public school system, I can also attest to from the parent side of the great education and support and upbringing your kids will receive.
By choosing one of our communities, you're going to find that we are safe, we are easy to drive around in with no traffic, and a much lower cost of living than any other part of the country.
As part of West Central Texas, you're going to feel at home, whether that's in the community or in our hospitals. We look forward to the opportunity to supporting you and guiding you throughout your professional career.
Come join our team!
Amazing. Oh, I feel like I've watched that video a couple of times, and every time I hear something new, that makes it sound even better, and I love that. But I think it's really nice for everyone to see, who you might be working with. What does the facility look like? So on the slide here, Angel, I'm hoping you can give us a deeper dive into why people joining us this evening today should choose Hendrick Health for their next position.
Absolutely. I thought I knew what I was going to say to this specific question, but it really depends on the nurse. If you are a parent and you're thinking of moving your entire family to Texas and working at Hendrick Health, then let me just say, absolutely, this is the place to be. It is, as was mentioned in the video, I'll give you an example. I live in Austin, which is one of the 4 largest cities in Texas, and we have traffic like you wouldn't believe. It might take me 35 minutes every morning to get my son to school, which is less than 5 miles from my house. The North Campus and the South Campus, in heavy traffic hours, It's a 12 to 15-minute drive. And
Wow.
this is ideal for those who have children. You can get from work to school events to sporting events to home, cook dinner in such a reasonable amount of time. And that is something that I wish I had here. Just the other day, I was complaining because I went from taking my son to school and home to his soccer practice and home. I spent 3 hours in my car. And, you add that onto an 8-hour day and you're already exhausted and ready to go to sleep.
Mhm.
But there are other things. Another great thing I'd love to highlight is if you're an individual who's single and who is looking to continue their career and advance their nursing career, 2 blocks away from the South Campus is a major university. There are
Mhm.
colleges, community colleges, as well as universities, and Hendrick has a ton of benefits for those individuals who want to further their career. They talked about the diversity, and this is one of my favorite stories about Hendrick as a whole. They've been in international nursing for over 30 years. They have a group that they call the 39s. And it was the original 39 Filipinos who came to work at Hendrick. Many of them have retired, some are still there. They just had a huge anniversary party for all of them that Hendrick put on to celebrate them because all 39 still live in Abilene, Brownwood area. Their
Wow.
children have gone on, graduated high school, went to college. Many of them work in the Hendrick Health system. And so those are things that really show you the kind of area and the environment and that Hendrick has to offer, also Abilene and Brownwood.
Yeah, absolutely. I think retention is such um, an important and powerful statistic. And I know that Hendrick has amazing retention and they really value not only obviously having people join, but keeping them. And there is a reason that people stay. And yeah, it's obvious.
Well, you mentioned that retention. Hendrick has, of all of our clients, probably the highest retention of international nurses. They're
Mhm.
around 82%. Besides that, um, as I mentioned, and as everyone's seen on the video, Heather, the CNO for both North and South location, she has been there for 19 years. She started on the floor and worked her way up to unit manager and just kept climbing that ladder. And now she's the CNO of 2 locations at 19 years. And it's when you walk down the halls, everybody has on a name tag and it shows how many years they've been there. We saw nurses and employees with, 2 years, but then we saw some that had 31 years and they're still
Wow.
there.
Yeah, no, that is amazing. And to remember everybody's names after 19 years is crazy. I feel like I'm terrible with names, but that really does show that dedication and that personal approach that Hendrick has. And talking on sort of the diversity side, we've done many events with Hendrick. I know we've had some very successful events in the Philippines. We've had some very successful events in Saudi Arabia. They have been very passionate at partnering with us to find the best talent globally. They are really, really eager to tap into the best nursing talent that everyone has to offer, and they're not going to let where that person is in the world stop them from reaching that, which I think is amazing. And today, obviously, we're promoting them for Canada. I believe we've also got events lined up as well. I think I'm right in saying that. So
Yeah.
it's really exciting that they are so passionate about finding great talent wherever that be in the world.
Yeah, and I want to hit on that. Many of you might be going, well, why are they hiring so many nurses and having so many events? Well, the reason is that Hendrick is growing leaps and bounds. They recently, over the last few years, purchased the Brownwood location, which they have put millions of dollars into renovations. They're opening they have a new dialysis wing. They're opening lots of specialties and specific wings. One is being a children's hospital. The closest one is at the North Campus. as well as the North and the South campuses are going through extensive renovations. They're adding additional towers. They're bringing in a lot of state-of-the-art healthcare to these hospitals.
Well, yeah, no, that's amazing. And before we move on to the surrounding areas, because I feel like we could sit here all day and talk about why choose Hendrick Health. Before we move on to the surrounding areas, we do have a poll for everybody joining us this evening. So you should see a question pop up shortly on your screen. And we want to know why you're interested in moving to Texas. So please take a moment. I feel like for me personally, it's the weather this time of year. We've got 25 centimeters of snow coming just on Saturday, and I would love to go south before that. But I mean, I feel like you've lived in different areas, Angel. What would you say is the thing that brought you back to Texas?
Well, I came back here to have a family, to start a family.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, no, that makes sense. And I think also with, they've talked about the low cost of living. That's a huge talking point in Canada at the moment, and globally. Housing affordability, all of these things, I think they're very good reasons to consider potentially moving. But yeah, that does make sense. Okay, let's see what everyone said. Oh, okay, it was pretty split. Weather is up there, which again, I am not surprised at all. And cost of living, all of the things that we just said. Cost of living being really important. Housing affordability, again, big talking point in Canada. So I completely appreciate that drive. And education and growth. I feel like that probably went up as you talked about, some of the items that they're putting in, and what the university and all of those kind of things. So to have good cost of living, great weather, and the ability to further yourself, what more is there to think about?
Yes. I will say a couple notes on those. Cost of living and housing. When we were in Hendrick, I obviously looked at Zillow and was checking out the houses.
Of course.
And you can get a nice four bedroom home with a pool for around 300,000 and less, which that's exceptional. Very low
Yes.
for Texas as a whole. You cannot get that in Austin. I am just going to be very clear. That's not happening here. And the other thing, weather. Yesterday, I had on a tube top and overalls. By last night, I won't lie, I was freezing and had to put on a sweatshirt. But in Abilene, you get all four seasons. You will see snow, but it's going to be inches. It's not going to be feet.
Mm-hmm.
You have long summers. You have full springs. You have great falls. We were there in September, and the difference in the weather from Austin to Abilene was pretty significant. We're only about 2.5 hours from Brownwood, so not too far away, but it was a lot cooler, and that was because of the open land and being in the West Texas.
Yeah, definitely. Just the thought of not having feet of snow sounds amazing. Everything else is just definitely an added bonus. Perfect. So I think we can move to the next slide, and we're going to get stuck into those local areas because you've already started selling some of the amazing benefits of those. So Angel, you have already touched on some of these. So can you talk about why these are specifically great places to live?
Well, as mentioned, I really enjoyed it. Abilene is very small town feel, but has everything you're looking for. Their population is about 120,000. You're close enough in Abilene to get to Dallas in around 2 hours. They have an airport, they have malls, they have Sam's Club, they have lots of dining and shopping. Everything you're looking for, they have it there, which makes it great. Brownwood, if you've ever dreamed of owning your land, raising cows or horses, or having a chicken coop, maybe you are passionate about growing your own food, Brownwood is absolutely the place to be. Both these towns are centered around family, around outdoor living, around kids. They're very safe. As mentioned, the cost of living is very affordable. It is a place that you can go and you can work and be very successful. purchase a home, and even later think about purchasing a second home or a vacation home. It's very doable in this area. The outdoor living, as I mentioned, it is beautiful. Brownwood is the beginning of the hill country. And so you start to see the mountains and the hills, and it does get a little bit colder there. But again, it is nothing like what you're compared to in Canada. So it's safe to say it will be a culture shock coming to Texas from Canada, but a good one, especially if you love the outdoors. There's lakes, lots of lakes, a lot of boating activities. And then sports are really big. They have state-of-the-art sport complex for your children as well as yourself on both in Abilene and in Brownwood. They even have several different outdoor pools. I think it's a water park, lots of things like that to do with your family or with yourself. There is an Air Force base that's located right next to Abilene. So you do see a lot of military personnel there. And they're just really big. One of the things that was so charming about Abilene, and it carries into Brownwood, is when you go to the downtown area, they have this storybook theme, and you'll see characters like Dr. Seuss, Bernstein Bears throughout the whole town. Now, the Children's Hospital in North Campus is themed Bernstein Bears. And as you drive through the town, there's different sculptures. There's children's museum, train museum. And so it's very, very focused on family. And I love that. They have a lot of festivals, farmers markets, lots of community events. They had a big, I can't think of what the name of it was, some big game that they put on where they raised money, and they do it every year. And while we were there, and over 1,500 people showed up. And so that's pretty substantial, even for big cities. I mean, the numbers are crazy, and everybody kind of gets together and just has a good time. And then, as Heather, the CNO, mentioned in her video, the school systems. You have public schools, you have private schools. As I mentioned, there's community colleges as well as universities. So it's everything that you're looking for without the crime, the high cost of living, or the traffic in big cities.
Amazing. Perfect. I feel like we've got everybody so excited. I know that our chat is going absolutely crazy now. I just want to reassure everybody, please keep sending in your questions, because there will be moments that we pause to go through them. So please don't worry if we haven't got to them yet. We definitely will. Yeah, keep sending them through, and we will get to them just shortly. We want to share a little bit more information just in case it does answer some of the questions. But we will get to your questions very, very soon. Thank you for adding them into the chat. And thank you, Angel, because yeah, you've just got everyone even more excited than they were from seeing the video before. So that is amazing. Now, in terms of specialties, we asked people to pop into the chat what sort of specialties they are. Everyone is obviously really intrigued to see what specialties Hendrick are looking for. So let's move to the next slide. And I think that we should talk about some of the main specialties that Hendrick Health are currently looking for. So as everyone can see here, there is a heavier need in Abilene. We've got CCU, Med Tele in Brownwood. We've got IMCU, Mother and Baby. We've got Labor and Delivery, Med Surg, Med Tele, Surgical Med Tele. We've got that in Abilene. But they are always looking for amazing talent. So yes, we have lots of openings in the positions that we're sharing in this slide, but please don't let that put you off if you're not seeing your specialty listed here, because Hendrick are really passionate about finding great nurses that they can have join their team. So yes, they have shared some of their, I think, immediate needs. I think that's from where they're seeing their current growth going, and that's what they've shared with us. But we also know that we are also showing them other great nurses in Canada and globally that are in different specialties here. So again, for everybody who was asking about that, we do have a small list, but there's lots of positions available. Like we've heard from Angel, they are growing at a really great rate. So amazing. Now, I think we do have quite a lot of questions. So I'm going to take a pause. I think we can start, responding to some of these questions. So I'm just going to go up here and Angel and I can do our best. Like I say, some of these questions we may need to speak to you personally. Everybody's journey is different, and we're very eager to make sure that everybody's journey is how they imagine it will be. So if we can't answer it because it's a little bit too specific, we will definitely be in touch to make sure that we can offer you that more exact answer. So we've got Najala. So Najala's joining us from Brampton. Amazing. You definitely understand the traffic aspect, Najal, just being in Brampton in the GTA. 10 years of med-surg experience. As we can see, they do need med-surg. Canadian citizens, amazing. And you're currently working as a registered nurse in long-term care. That's perfect. I know you've said you can't talk. That's great. We're just really glad you could join us, Najal. So that's great. And also about it being 2 hours. So yeah, this hospital is really amazingly located. I personally live 2 hours north of Toronto, and I love the fact that Toronto is right there, but I don't live in Toronto. And this is the exact same thing where you've got really great hub cities. You can go and enjoy, a great concert. You can go and have that city life, but you don't have to live in it, and you don't have to deal with the traffic all the time. So it is a really good location. I know that one of the members of our team, Magda, has let you know to reach out to us to review your resume. Of course, that goes for everybody here today. But yes, definitely send your resume to us and we can give you even more information. And Mona has mentioned that the relationship between staff look really good, and that's really important to be in a calm, respectful environment. I think, Angel, you can probably relate to that when you're having a busy shift. Having your teammates to rely on, having that level of calm is huge, right?
Absolutely. That's key. I mean, I have taken jobs where I have worked in places that were not the greatest, but the teamwork and the passion that everybody had and how we, acted as a family together, and pulled our weight together was the reason I stayed.
Yeah, absolutely. So Najala's come back saying openings now. So yep, absolutely. The process of hiring, so we have to remember that it is immigration, it's relocation, and that is, it is a complex process. Thankfully, Visa Solutions Healthcare have complete experts throughout every part of that journey to make what is ordinarily a very stressful experience into something that is much more smooth, personal. You've got somebody who knows what they're talking about, can give you updates, and just talk you through. Sometimes I myself immigrated to Canada. I know how stressful immigrating can be, so it's really nice to have somebody who is just there helping you make sure that moves. So there isn't an exact timeline to give, Najala, because like I say, it is a personal experience, but essentially we are here to make sure that it is as smooth and as quick as it can be. Karen says she has to move. So I think we've got Karen very excited about Hendrick Health and moving there. Najala's also asked about the TN to green card. So the TN visa program, we're going to do a little bit more information into that, Najala. So I'm going to pause on that question just so I don't miss any specific information. I know we have 2 dedicated slides to the visa portion of that, which is obviously what we support with. So I won't answer that just yet. In terms of bonuses, relocation and housing, again, that'll all be covered when we talk about what sort of benefits you get from working with us, and all of those kind of things. So I won't answer that just yet, Najala, but it is coming in this presentation. Mona's asked about pay. So Angel, are you able to share, my understanding is their scale is varied based on experience. Am I correct in thinking that?
Yes, it is.
Okay, perfect.
I can give you guys an average of what that range looks like. It's anywhere from about $37 an hour up to $47 an hour.
Perfect. And that's in US
hourly
dollars, right?
wage.
Perfect. And yeah, so for everybody, obviously in Canada, that is a rate per hour in US dollars, which is always nice when it's converted to Canadian. So yeah, it does range. Again, we can't give you an exact amount, but that is what the range is, and it is based on experience. And Najala has said she has her visa screen. So, I mean, Najala is just ready to go by the sounds of it. She's got the visa screen. She's got a Texas license. She's already there. She's in there. She's in Hendrick already. So that's perfect. And I see you've said you shared your resume, so that's amazing. Mona is very excited about the teamwork, and Julie wants mentoring and training to gain more skills. And I think between the new stuff that they're bringing into Hendrick, the fact that they are, really passionate about people growing, would you say that that's people can feel confident in that?
Oh, well, I didn't even hit on that. But since you mentioned mentoring and training, I have to say that Hendrick has by far the most amazing and beautiful education center. It's located on one end of the mall that's there in Abilene. No matter which campus you go to, you will start out at this education center. They have about 10 classrooms that hold anywhere between 30 and 85 nurses. They have 5 skills lab with anything and everything you could imagine. You will spend your first 8+ weeks there doing hands-on training, working on your skills, specialized to what department you're going to, as well as preparing you for what the U.S. expects in their nurses and our standards. And so there are also individual rooms that you can put your name on the list for. You can do additional training on your own. They have about 6 or 8 of those that hold up to 2 people. And it's open, all the hours at the mall are open. You can go there at any time and do additional training. And another thing that's amazing is they also have their own CNA program. So,
Wow.
for instance, kids, family that might come with you who want this training, they will teach them and they can become certified there through their program. And it is wonderful. They also work with a lot of the schools. And so they get a lot of nurses from day one.
Amazing. Perfect. Well, I know there are still some questions to get through. We're going to move on to the next slide, but again, there will be more stops for us to go through the questions. So please continue to add your questions in and excitement, because we love to hear it. We are going to move on to a testimonial, but before we do that, I want to share another trivia question, because why not? I feel like we've talked about Hendrick. We can detour the brain a little bit. What popular soda drink was founded in Texas in 1885? You should see a poll come onto your screen. Please share what you think the answer is. I was very surprised by this. I remember sharing it with you, Angel. It was not a surprise to you at all. But as somebody who didn't know, I was very surprised at this. So we'll see how many people get it. Maybe it's more commonly known than I thought.
Mon also loves this drink.
I do. I really do. An unhealthy amount. It's like a sweet treat for me. Okay, let's see what everybody has said. So it is Dr. Pepper, which I love Dr. Pepper, and I feel like it's big in Canada, big in Europe, but it does make it the oldest soda brand in the US. And I think, Angel, you were sharing that they also have I think it was a factory there or something.
They do.
Yep. So when I'll have to be very well behaved when I go there. But I think now we can talk about Jasmine and her experience at Hendrick Health. So Jasmine is a registered nurse at Hendrick Health, and she shared her testimony with us, and she has said, Visa Solutions Healthcare and Hendrick Health made sure I settled in quite nicely in the community. Now it has been a year since I started working in Hendrick. The higher-ups are easy to approach, my colleagues are fun to work with, and the management tries to involve its employees in different activities. Hendrick recognizes even simple actions to thank its employees. If you're thinking of starting your career at Hendrick Health, start now. The first step is always with you. And it's so great to hear RNs being settled and happy after joining the workforce. And of course, Angel and I are talking about how great Hendrick is, but to hear from an RN who has herself made that move, settled into Hendrick, all of the things that we're talking about, that community feel, integration into the team, the support, the appreciation is, she's felt that quite a lot in her first year. So I'm sure that will continue. Perfect. Now, because I am aware of how excited we've got everybody and our chat's going crazy, we will go back to our chat again very quickly before we move on. Okay, so Emily is talking about she's not currently working as a nurse at the moment. What do we think of the opportunities of working at Hendrick Health, but does have some experience back in the Philippines? So because Hendrick does have, it does serve a very large population. They have, amazing state-of-the-art equipment, everything that they have to offer. Everyone here recognizes how hard every nurse works to get their license and, remain safe. And that is the biggest thing here. They do require you to currently be working as a registered nurse, and it is just so that you can integrate that bit more seamlessly. They offer very extensive training, which Angel touched on. But, not being bedside as an RN and suddenly going into that can be quite a shock. So you do have to currently be working as a registered nurse and be bedside, but if you can get back into that role, you can always reach out to us now. We can have you in our system. We can make sure we keep in regular contact with you. So again, never let that put you off having conversations with us. But it is all to make sure that we are, us and Hendrick Health are keeping you and your license safe and protected when you're practicing. So it all comes from a really positive place. Ali Reza has asked about the nurse to patient ratio. Angel, are you able to share? I'm sure it differs depending on which your specialty you're working in, but obviously they're doing lots of hiring, so I feel like their want to keep those ratios safe is really paramount.
Yes, so ICUs, you're going to see that typical 1-to-1. They have a step down where you could see a 1-to-2, but it's going to be step down. It's not as critical there, obviously. They have a ton of additional support on each floor. I can say that without a doubt. You will see, besides your charge nurse, they also bring in educators. They have an educator for every department and every floor. And then they have unit managers on top of that. So they have additional support. Their ratios are pretty standard. Maybe med-surg might be 1-to-5. But then you also have, one of the things I really liked is in Brownwood, besides just CNAs, they also have med techs there as well. And they have different techs that I haven't seen in some hospitals. So they bring in even more support. I love that. I know when I worked med-surg as a nurse, you did it all, whether that was give a shower, do the toileting, do the medication, any treatment. And what I've seen at Hendrick is that they have a lot of care personnel who work there to relieve some of the work that the nurses have. So that's kind of how it's pretty normal standard US for their staffing. And yes, they are hiring a lot of new nurses. With that being said, they don't have those units open at this time that they're in a crunch and people are working short. They're in the middle of renovating them. They have, I think it was the 4th or 5th floor at the South Campus, isn't even open yet, but I learned what all is going in there. And so that's why they're amping up their nurses.
Amazing. Perfect. And a couple of people have asked whether it's direct employment or through agencies. So this is direct hire, which means that you have that absolute stability in the offer from Hendrick Health. You're working for them. You are part of their workforce. We are the bridge between you and them. So to answer a couple of questions there. Okay, so I think we can move to the next slide because we're going to talk about immigration next, which I feel like is another really, really important part of this conversation. We've got everybody all excited. Now, how do we get there? So Canadian nurses are in a really unique position in terms of immigration. So we did a deep dive into the program and the visa in our last webinar, which everybody can check out on our YouTube channel. This will also be on our YouTube channel if anyone wants to refer back to it, but there is a really deep dive into that information. So we're going to briefly touch on the TN visa that nurses have access to now, but please do check out that webinar to get that extra information. So you can see here, it is a non-immigrant visa. It's valid for up to 3 years. but it is continuously renewable. It's available for qualified Canadians and Mexicans, but it does require a sponsor. And by sponsor, we mean an employer who is able to sponsor you for that visa. And it allows you to bring a spouse and any children under the age of 21. So someone that you're married to. Children can have access to education, but spouses can't work on that visa, which is a really important thing to remember when you're planning that move. VSH does provide ongoing support to TN visa applicants far beyond placement. We are committed like crazy. We stay in touch through your probation, after your probation. Sometimes we can offer additional support in terms of other visas and whatever we can do to support people in their long-term US journey. That's what we're here for. So as you can see, very unique visa. But now let's move to our next slide and talk about how you can qualify for our TN program. Although again, extra detail is on our YouTube channel from our previous webinar. If we can move to the next slide. Perfect. So in terms of our TN visa program, as we mentioned, you do need to be a citizen of Canada or Mexico to qualify for the visa. You have to hold a valid and unrestricted registered nursing license. And in terms of education, you need to have a degree or a diploma in nursing from an accredited school. And with experience, which we briefly touched on, you need to have at least 2 years of consistent and current bedside experience in your specialty. So we would be presenting you in the specialty that you currently work in. I know some people mentioned med-surg and other ones. So whatever you're currently working in is what we would present you for openings at Hendrick. With references, we do need to be able to obtain at least 3 reference letters or employment certificates, and you must have already passed your NCLEX exam. For most people, if you're practicing in Canada, you already have your NCLEX. So it's not usually a difficulty, but if that is something you've got on your to-do list, definitely tick it off because that is one of the requirements for our program. Okay, so we're going to do another poll for our attendees because it's always great to hear more about what people think of Texas, especially maybe you haven't been there before or you've read. So please tell us what aspects of Texas culture you're most excited to experience. I feel like the barbecue is got to be for me. You hear about Texas barbecues and never experienced it, but that would do it. That and Dr. Pepper.
Oh, Savon, you've got to come visit me, and then I will fill your belly full of barbecue.
Oh, we'll have to do it in winter so I can go back and it will keep me warm when I come back to Canada and it's cold again.
Yes.
Oh
yeah, we eat barbecue year round.
Oh my goodness, like even when it's cold. Wow. Okay. So outdoor activities and landscapes took the first place, which again, I'm not really surprised at because Canada has beautiful landscapes. I feel like a lot of people appreciate that. So still being able to continue experiencing that is amazing. Barbecue and food, no surprise to me, but that was second place. The Southern hospitality as well. I think that gets everybody excited. Perfect. So thank you everybody for sharing your answers. I think we can move to our next slide now. Perfect. Amazing. So I am going to talk us through how we can achieve actually getting to living in Texas, because it's all great hearing about it. It's great hearing about the program, but what does that entail? How do we get from us talking today, talking about how amazing it is, watching the videos, to living in Texas and working at Hendrick Health? So the first really important part is applying, and all of you joining today have taken that first step. You've joined us today, you want to hear about it, you're asking questions, we can see how excited everybody is. So if you haven't shared your resume with us, that is your first thing to do. And I know that, we are in constant communication with people. So if you've already sent your resume to us and you haven't heard back from us, we're probably just waiting for the webinar today. But if you haven't shared your resume with us, please do, because that's how we determine program eligibility. So all of those key markers that we just talked about to actually qualify for the program, we use your resume to make sure that you qualify for the program and you qualify for Hendrick's minimum requirements. Then what we do is we set you up with a client interview. So you will have already met with us, we'll have checked, make sure that you're absolutely fine to go ahead, and then you're going to meet with Hendrick virtually. So you don't have, you don't have to already go down to Texas at that point, but you'll virtually meet with Hendrick. They will interview you. They will, want to hear more about you, your experience, what you're excited about, and then you get to ask questions. They get to tell you even more information than we have any, there's so much to share. There's definitely not enough time today for it, but they will continue to share amazing information about the facility and what your life would look like there. And then once you ace that client interview, you then get your job offer, and that's when you've secured a position in the US, and a real key marker in your journey from today through to living and working in Texas and Hendrick Health. So then you get your job offer, you've secured your dream job. And yeah, that's a really kind of exciting midpoint, I think. Perfect. Now, before we move on to the next slide, another really important thing, and I know for me, and Angel, I'm sure you can appreciate this, interviews are a stressful environment. And we take that very, very seriously. Well, we know that everyone wants to work at Hendrick, and sometimes that can make you a little bit more anxious, and you might feel unprepared. We offer such amazing support, and we do simulated interviews. We help people prepare for the kind of questions to expect. And I think we can, the team that I work in, we actually do those meetings, and they are so helpful to people to just get them that little bit less anxious before they meet with clients, knowing what to expect. But they are lovely, Angel, aren't they? When you meet with Hendrick, they're such nice people. And would you say that is really like paramount when people actually meet in those interviews with Hendrick?
Yes, it is big. And typically, just so you guys know, if you decide to join our team and submit and try for that American dream at Hendrick Health, more than likely in your interview, you will see my face again. So remember it.
That's true. A friendly face. Exactly.
Yes. To help calm your nerves. I'll be there.
Amazing. Okay. And then I think we can move to the next slide, which is post job offer, those final stages of, you've got your job offer. How do you get there? So first of all, licensure is so important. Obviously, we need to obtain your US nursing license. And as we mentioned, we have teams of experts. We have credentialing. We have immigration, relocation. We have the endorsement team. They are all experts in their niche fields, and they're going to support you to make sure that you have every single piece of paperwork, license, document, anything that's needed, they are there for you. So getting all of that sorted, then you move on to visa processing and relocation and actually moving there. So they will set you up with, making sure you have accommodation to move to. They will make sure that, if you need to rent a car, they're going to help you do those, get your social security number, all of the basic stuff to really set yourself up for success in a new country. And as you can then see, there's 3 very excited people at the bottom who have landed in Texas, and they're ready to start their first day in Hendrick Health. So at that point, you're then living it out. You've made it this far, and you're just thriving and having a great time. So they're not, like we mentioned before, they're not simple processes. Relocating, immigration in general, is such a complex thing, but thankfully working with us on that, you get unparalleled support. There is nothing like it, and they make things that are so complex and quite stressful into much calmer and help you to enjoy the journey to get to Hendrick rather than that being stressful and then arriving there. So I think they're really great for that. Before we do wrap up today's webinar, I think we should get back to some of the questions, because again, it's gone crazy in the chat again, which we're so happy about. So let's have a look. Let's see. So the TN visa. So Najala's asked about the fees to do with the TN visa. So we actually cover the immigration fees for our registered nurses. We don't cover the cost of family members, but we do support with the application process for them. So again, just more reasons why you get added value from working with us. And Mona's asking about if spouses are not able to work, what are the workarounds to that? So again, everybody's circumstances are so different, Mona, and I would encourage you to reach out to us directly. There are some potential solutions, but it is very personal to each person. So I wouldn't want to give you an overly broad answer. I would encourage you to reach out to the Canada team so that we can give you the best advice for you. And Smitha has asked about whether children need to pay for education. Angel, are you able to share any information on that? You best know.
No, all the public schools are free. If you chose to put your child in a private school, then yes, you will pay for that education. Texas also has what is called charter schools. They're kind of that bridge between a public school and a private school. I have my son in a charter school. Those, again, are also free. They operate more like a private school. Childcare, you do have to pay for childcare. That is one thing that is out of pocket no matter where you live in the United States. But as far as school, no, you do not have to pay for that.
Amazing. Perfect. So Mona's asking about relocation. So yeah, so again, the support that we offer is huge. We offer, we pay for the first month of accommodation and utilities. We support with renting a car, getting your bank account set up, getting your social security number issued. We do offer you a one-time bonus to support with the initial expenses. I think we all know how expensive it is to fill your fridge, all of those kind of things. So having that to really help you set up is a huge addition. You have so many things that you're trying to get done when you move to a new place, and I think that we really do try and think of everything. We cover the cost for English proficiency exams if it's required. We cover the cost of visa screens, and yeah, there's so much support around the assistance that we offer. So definitely reach out, because again, everyone's is personal, and you might have some specific questions. So again, please reach out to that. There are also people asking about the adjustments of status. So that would be from TN visas to the EB3, better known as green card. So it does depend on whether you're eligible for that conversion, but if you are eligible, we do support with that process. So again, we can give you much more personal information on that. So I would encourage you to reach out so we can give you better and personal information in terms of that conversion. Okay.
I think there's one that I wanted to hit on. I've seen it a couple times. For the individuals who are asking about, you've been working as an LPN, you're, for 4 or 5 years, and then you have 6, 7, 8 years as an RN. Typically, Hendrick will take all those years as nursing experience into consideration. And there was another one where someone had said, they have med surg experience, but they're working currently bedside and long-term care. Again, that is a special situation. Absolutely reach out to our Canadian team, and they will talk you through it. We will present you with what options we have. I'm not afraid to present a nurse with special circumstances, and it depends on that individual and what exactly is going on. So we can't make any promises, but reach out and let us see what we can do for you.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we're always seeing what we can offer, and yeah, we're happy to present anybody. So definitely, everyone's journey is different. So like we say, whether it's that you didn't see a specialty on the screen or you have a slightly different journey in your nursing career, please reach out. We are more than happy to help. But I think that wraps us up for today. Like we mentioned, everyone's journey is unique. Please reach out and find out more information. Tell us about you. Tell us your story. Tell us your family story. That is going to help us give you the best guidance possible. Obviously, in our webinars, we have to be slightly more generic because it really isn't one size fits all, but to give you as much information as possible. So please reach out to our Canadian team. We are here to help. And yeah, some people have already sent their resumes. We are going to be working through them. Please share them if you haven't. But as you can see here, we are on all forms of social media. Please like and follow our socials to stay in the know of all the things that we're doing. And as I mentioned, this webinar and our previous webinar will be available on YouTube, although our previous one is already up. So if you want any more information about the specific details on the TN program, please take a look at that video. But thank you all again for joining wherever you are, because I know for us it's the evening, depending on where you are, it could be even later. But we really look forward to supporting your Texas dream and finding you your perfect role at Hendrick. So from us at Visa Solutions Healthcare, thank you so much to everybody for joining today. And thank you, Angel.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good evening.
Thanks, everyone. Have a great evening.